Welcome to Real Flix Reviews, like a book club for people who hate reading. This month we're doing grab bags, so I picked Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, along with Supergirl Season 1, Episode 1, and this week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens,
Hello.
and Ryan Preston. So here's a description of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. When Dr. Henry Jones Sr. suddenly goes missing while pursuing the Holy Grail, eminent archaeologist Indiana Jones must follow in his father's footsteps and stop the Nazis.
Where are my scalps?
That's what I thought.
I know, that's why I heard you giggle and I knew what you're talking about.
So I'm giving this a straight 4 out of 5.
Okay.
This has been believe it or not, this one has been a while since I watched it, and it aged a little poorly in a few scenes for me.
All right. This one's a straight 5 out of 5 for me. There's no question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best of the series. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's the best one out of all of them.
Yeah, absolute 5
I would
out of
say
5. It's Indiana Jones for one. The series is iconic.
Yeah.
But this one, I mean, was just it had everything awesome about Indiana Jones in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this one and the first one, I would say the first one is the one that didn't age well at all.
I don't see.
Yeah.
I think they all didn't age well, but for considering what they did with it, I think they did age pretty good. I think 1 and 3 are still
Temple
the
of
best.
Doom wasn't even conceived very well.
I mean, Temple of Doom, like, the only thing that's great about that one is Short Round. And, I mean, even that was kind of, I mean...
Yeah, and that's really just the line, "No Time for Love, Dr. Jones."
Yeah, and I mean...
Been parodied a lot.
If any of them was shit, it was Temple of Doom until Crystal Skull came over and took the trophy for that one.
This is true.
Yeah, but a couple of notes on that. One, Steven Spielberg is on record as saying that he did The Last Crusade pretty much as a way to make up for Temple of Doom.
Which he did, in my opinion.
Yeah, which it did in spades. He brought it back from just oblivion as far as I'm concerned.
Wait,
and then
he was supposed to make up
the
for it?
original story. I don't know if you guys know about this. The original story was actually supposed to be set in a haunted mansion because, George Lucas.
Temple of Doom or this one?
But Spielberg had just got done doing Poltergeist, so he really didn't want to do another haunted mansion kind of thing. Wanted to do just another direction.
So was this supposed to be
He came up with the Holy Grail scenario, George Lucas, and then Spielberg was the one that added the father-son sort of sub-story.
I was going to say that one of the best things about this movie, and one of the reasons I love the Indiana Jones movies, is I love the time it's set in. I think it's just perfect. You've got enough technology to make things better, but not enough to take away from everything. Like one of the reasons I think the new Mummy movies are going to be bad.
Well,
It's exactly what we were talking about last week. It's the perfect time for an adventure movie.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things I love about this one is it gives you backstory of Indy besides, just kind of the lore that you got from Temple of Doom and the Ark of the Covenant. This one gives you a little bit more history into why he became who he became. And also, I just love the thing of the dog's name was Indy.
Yeah.
I always thought that joke was probably the best. And the way that Sean Connery and Harrison Ford interacted in this film, I mean, that's like an amazing acting duo that you wouldn't have expected at the time.
And it was written so perfectly, even with that joke that you mentioned, basically saying like that's another way that he rebelled against his old man, you know?
Yeah, they did an amazing job with the acting choices. I don't think there was anybody in this
tapestries. We're here for the tapestries.
I don't think there was anybody in this movie that I thought that was ill chosen.
Yeah, even the bad guys.
Yeah, they were perfect.
Yeah.
And I love the best thing about this movie is also that some of the sets. Like the sets I didn't like so much, honestly, was when they're entering the first thing with the rotating saw blades.
Oh.
That set to me really killed it, honestly.
I actually, for the time when it first came out, I have to pull that up. What?
89.
89. Okay. For it to come out in 89, I think the sets were really well done at the time. But you are right. There are some, if you nitpick it, but I still liked the idea of the challenges that he had to go through. And I mean, the way that they designed the walk of faith, or the leap of faith, or whatever that was,
walking out of the lion's mouth.
Yeah, walking out of the lion's mouth on that little beam of rocks that you couldn't see because it blended in so perfect. I thought that was really creative.
Oh no! See, all of that, none of that let me down. Like the major one part that was a major letdown was the entrance of that in that scene. Such a
where
pivotal.
Kids their heads off and things.
Yeah, such a pivotal moment, and the leading up to his head getting cut off was just. I just thought it was poorly done in a scene that I thought after watching it's like it's missing something to me.
No, I think you're great. I think it was perfect.
Yeah, I kind of think so as well. And as far as I'm concerned, I like the way that they did kind of like the clues. It was like Da Vinci Code tried to rip this off in the way that they did it. And
I love the spelling mistake, by the way.
Yeah,
that was my favorite part. Oh, that's right. It's with an I. You think an archaeologist wouldn't forget that?
Yeah. It's all the alcohol. It's all the booze.
And I love the fact that unlike his father, who's a scholar who goes out in the field, he's an adventurer who just happens to be a scholar.
Yeah.
That's one of the dynamics I love about this. When Henry Jones Sr.'s comments, like, so this is what this is like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, and kind of had that attitude like, oh shit, this is the reason I never go out in the field,
Yeah. And I still love the umbrella scene where he chases the birds and Indy's like looking at him like, what the hell are you doing? You're insine. You're crazy old man. And then
down goes the plane.
Oh, okay.
I just remembered my Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I love Sean Connery. One of the few actors that I would watch almost everything he was in.
Dragonheart?
That's fine.
He said almost.
Almost. Honestly, it's the one made in the 70s where he's in the loincloth the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I could have done without ever seeing that movie.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should see it. Then you too can be scarred for life.
No.
And John Rhys, was it Rhys? I can never say his name. John Davies.
John Rhys Davies.
John Rhys Davies, one of my all-time favorite actors in this movie. He makes this movie in a lot of ways for me because he's not adult like the other teacher.
Oh, okay.
But he's not a serious character.
Yeah.
So I like the interaction.
Yeah. I mean, I think as far as like we said, the cast was amazing, and I mean, even you have one of the actors that died so young in his career. You have River Phoenix playing young Indy, and I mean, I even think he was a perfect fit for that role.
See, I remember thinking after this, because they actually came out with young Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, man, that would be a good role for him because maybe eventually he could take over the indie role and there could be more films. And that was the one thing to me because I remember when he died because I saw this movie in theaters. I always thought that was a shame.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a good upcoming actor. I mean, really good. Way better than his brother.
And
Way better.
And
I will throw you under the bus every time, Joaquin. I will. I will.
And this
Stupid
movie is
hairline.
definitely a typical action movie, though. It's very linear.
Yeah.
It's the quintessential adventure movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like James said, I mean, with Da Vinci Code, but every adventure movie is trying to do and trying to capture the kind of feeling that this one is,
I do think the ingenious part of this movie, because it's very straightforward, find the clues, go to the place, shenanigans happen, but the introduction of the father-son interaction and the clues and the whole thing being the MacGuffin of his book so he can figure out the clues, I thought added a really good layer to this movie to not make it so straightforward.
Yeah.
Well, what's great about this kind of storytelling and what Steven Spielberg is always great at is making the trip worth it. Even if you kind of see where it's going, the scene to scenes are just, like amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in this one, like I said before, I mean, has kind of like every great indie thing going on. The whole scene where he's trying to explain that Marcus Brody, was going to blend in, and he knows a dozen languages and all the local customs. Cut to Marcus Brody. The no ticket line when they're smashing up the floor and the guy's looking at his stamp. I mean, every scene in this movie, I'm like, oh shit, here it comes.
Yeah.
No, this and the best thing about this movie, there's no wasted scenes in this movie. And I don't even think there's any slowdowns in the pacing that aren't really needed. You could see like, oh, I see why he did this because it leads up to this. Where some of the movies we've done, like, you could have made this faster so it made this scene,
Yeah, trying to think. I don't think there really, I think like you said, there really is no wasted scene or anything where the pacing was wrong at all. I think this one was, it's just so fluid, the way that they put it together. And, I mean, I would be more than interested to see how much they actually cut the film down to, because it's over 2 hours, and that's a really long time for a film at this time. I mean, 90 minutes was the goal that every film had, and to go over 90 minutes, it was always questionable. But this film, it never felt like it was 2 hours.
Unless you're Kevin Costner, because he killed that 90.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was the one trying to break the mold. And
there's one thing about this movie I've always appreciated. It's a transition between traveling from one place to another. That map it sounds funny, but it's a transition I've always liked, because
Me too.
it's a quick, dirty explanation of how we got there, instead of normally the person enters a airplane and leaves an airplane.
Yeah.
I love that. I always have. It's always been something I appreciate.
I think it was a very ingenious way to do that.
Which has been copied 1,000 times since.
I think, matter of fact, I thought they copied it too.
I think they did.
I think you might be right, but I don't think there's anybody that sees that doesn't immediately think of indie.
Yeah.
Because you can't fix that. It's just the perfect explanation. There's no supposition. It just shows you what's happening. Like, oh, okay, he's going to whatever the thing leads to.
Yeah.
Well, because it keeps it kind of flowing, instead of sort of the modern day, just like cut to they're in London. It's like, okay, you're on this journey with them, and now here's just a boring plane flight that we're just gonna animate with a map and a line.
Yeah,
but it keeps you with them at all steps.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the other thing I thought was an interesting twist. Was, I mean, it's an obvious twist, but with the female doctor who turned out to be a Nazi, I thought it was obvious, but that was a well done twist.
Yeah,
it tied everything up.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying is even though you can kind of see that sort of thing coming, even with the foreshadowing of don't trust anybody, that's what's his name,
the dead Nazi.
I can't think of the dude's name who sent him on the quest.
Yeah, I don't remember. He just crashed.
Anyway.
Blame IMDb.
But he had mentioned to him, oh, don't trust anybody or whatever. And so you kind of see that coming, but you still enjoy the ride, and you still buy that, oh yeah, he would just be blinded by the blonde hair,
My actually favorite scene regarding her was when
Brody or...
No, it was the American Millionaire, the guy who forced Indy in the beginning of the movie.
Donovan?
That sounds about
Was
right.
it Donovan?
I don't think so. I'm trying to remember if it was Vogel or Donovan.
But it was...
No, it wasn't Vogel.
I think it was Donovan. Anyway.
That one scene when it was father and son...
Fans, shut up.
And they made a comment about, what, she talks in her sleep. that whole scene, and seeing Harrison's Ford face of like, what, just every time I see it, it makes me laugh.
And it's one of those that's almost forgivable because it's Sean Connery doing it.
Because you're thinking about James Bond,
Yeah, I mean,
First of all, the line when he says Nazis, I hate these guys. I mean, that's a stand up and cheer moment right there. Just This little nod back to I know these assholes.
I always hoped that he'd make a reference to seeing the Ark of the Covenant, though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, when the Ark of the Covenant, no, I've seen that, and just walk by, just some throwaway line, because I always thought it would have been funny.
He could have said it to the Templar.
Oh, that would have been, yeah, see, something good. I guess I'll change, after kind of thinking over it, I'll change it. I give it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm glad, because I don't think there's anybody our age that their childhood isn't attached to this so heavily.
They're just like, who the hell would give it anything less?
And also, here's the amazing thing:
John.
These movies are actually pretty timeless. You know what I mean? It's really about the first and the third one.
Yeah,
I would say
because it's material, it's subject matter that people just sort of know. Even just through sort of the zeitgeist. And then it takes place in a time where it's not going to seem silly, 20 years from now. Like, oh, that's what they thought the future looked like. It doesn't have that kind of problem. It has this like, oh, okay, well, this takes place in the 30s. People 20 years from now are going to know just about as much about the 30s as we do.
And I think that's the genius about doing a period piece. One of the reasons I thought the movie Gattaca kind of lost a little luster is because the scenes were the computers, and I'm thinking, oh, that looked cool back in the day, but man, those are crappy computers. So no, that's one of the benefit I think that Hollywood needs to learn from. So,
this one will always be a 5 out of 5, and I will argue anybody who would try to give it less.
Yeah, I don't think there's any male under the or over the age of 25 who isn't going to immediately show this to their kid when they're 9 years old.
Now, I do actually wish they re-release these in the theaters, though. I'd love to see them in the theaters again.
Yeah.
Minus Temple of Doom. I could skip that one.
Yeah, if I was going to ever have my kid watch any Indiana Jones, I would do 1 and 3. He can watch Temple of Doom and Crystal Skull if he ever feels like it, but not with me.
Right.
I wouldn't even bring it up. I would just say, oh, there's only 2 of these movies. Here they are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Since
they don't reference Temple in Last Crusade,
and
it's not like, oh, yeah, remember that shit with the weird guy in the heart and the Kali Ma?
And the little Asian kid.
So it's not titled 1, 2, or 3. You can easily do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I ride horse through the desert, going, I wonder what Short Round's up to. And your kid's like, what the hell's Short Round? Don't ask.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch to our TV pick, which was Supergirl season 1, episode 1. This,
hold on. Okay, I got a bone to pick right off the bat.
Okay.
Why does Supergirl have a scar over her left eye?
I didn't actually notice that.
Just putting that out there.
Well, she lived under the stairs at her place, and then I think it was like a lightning bolt or something.
No, that's
and
Shazam.
She got an owl. Wait, am I confusing this with something else?
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Now, the only way that they could really explain it away, but even still, it would heal once she got under the actual sun, is that she had it previously from Krypton. Now, I'm just throwing this out because the actress does have a scar over her eye.
And you're nitpicking.
And it kind of bothered me when I noticed it, and I couldn't unnotice it. It cannot be unseen. So just kind of throwing that out there. Other than that, I've always liked Supergirl over Superman because she doesn't have the God complex. And that could be because she grew up older with the understanding her own mortality.
Matter of fact, she has kind of the slightly adolescent, in some versions teen, and some sort of young woman kind of characteristics, which is way more dynamic with that kind of power.
Yeah, unlike Superman, who has the same feminine wiles as she does, just in a male form.
Okay. I actually appreciated the way they kind of did this, because this was the origin story, and it was boom, boom, boom over in part of the story. I wish more superhero TV shows would do that instead of having 3 or 4 episodes explaining...
Or a season.
Explaining why they're so forlorn and why they had to become this hero saving the freaking day. We get it. At this point, if you haven't seen a superhero movie, you've been living under the stairs.
Yeah.
Not
getting your mail.
I do also like the scene where she's trying on the super suits. That's always something I've always enjoyed in other origin stories.
I mean, you go to fashion shows too?
No, but it always made me laugh.
Fashion shows?
No, this.
Oh.
And by the way, I do think she's a good spiritual successor to Helen Slater, who was the original Supergirl.
Yeah.
Since they've only made one freaking movie of her.
Is it just one?
Yeah, just one. There's never. I don't think there's been cartoons because she was in the cartoons of the late '90s.
Yeah.
But there's never been anything else that I'm aware of. Ryan.
I kind of want to say there was more, but I think you might be right. I actually don't know.
I don't know. It wasn't a character I typically followed.
Yeah, but I actually enjoyed the show. I mean, I might give it another episode just to see, but I probably won't go any more than that.
So
if it's not something that grabs you,
So I've watched bits and pieces of episodes. My biggest problem with this, honestly, is it looks like a CW show.
I think it is a CW
No, it
show.
is. That's the.
It is a CW show, and they have a tendency to look like CW
Cheesy.
shows.
Yeah, and that's my biggest problem. Maybe it's because I wish they had a bigger budget, but it looks so bad. Even Sci-Fi Channel would say no.
But
guys
you got to
can have it."
remember that before it became the CW, they had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, but that was the '90s. That's
In the
forgivable.
'90s they were raking in the dough.
I mean, come on.
And the Wayans brothers. Didn't they have the Wayans brothers too?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had did they have Wayne's Brothers? Yeah, they might have. But I mean, they were king, of the roost for a long time.
Yeah.
So next,
but they kind of lost their way, kind of lost their money. Arrow tried to break the mold, and I think they did for about the first season.
Yeah.
But then it slowly started to kind of fade back into that.
I will not kill.
I guess.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
watching
Once
fucking
his
WB
friend
over here.
died, which I was like screaming at the screen, like, "Why would you do this to this guy? Let the dude die and stop making him promise stupid shit to a dying person."
So
Anyways.
so with that being said, next week is James's pick because we were a tad bit off of when. Now, don't blame me. Yeah, don't blame me. I'm not the one who decided to do this. There, it was kind of
I was going by what you said.
I was going beyond. Let's just say it's all his fault. So next week is his pick. So what are you picking?
The game.
The game.
Michael Douglas, 95.
Yep.
Nice.
Not the worst choice out there.
And TV show is The Magicians, and we'll do the pilot episode of that one.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I gave Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade a 5 out of 5.
Well deserved.
James gave it a 5 out of 5. Ryan gave it a 5 out of 5. I promise I'm fine.
The game was 1997, by the way, people.
And
97, okay.
we're doing The Game and The Magicians.
Yeah, season 1, episode 1.
And as always, thank you for watching.
Goodbye.
Thank you.